Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show. For the live audience, we're a couple of minutes late. I apologize for that. Had some clips I wanted to make sure I got ready for you guys. And, rendering files is fun. But welcome into the Steven Singer Studios. My name is Marc Farzetta. Thanks for joining us on this fine morning on your way to work, while you're killing your lunch hour, whatever it might be. We're going to hear from Jonathan Gannon because, how about this? I think Jonathan Gannon watches film of his own press conferences, so we'll get into that about his whole I don't have a scheme thing, right? And, sometimes we just try to go with what fits other people. So we'll go into that, what Jonathan Gannon had to say. It was the first time we talked to Miles Sanders, or we got to hear from Miles Sanders. It was the first time we got to hear from him since he didn't run out of bounds against Carolina Panthers. I was really curious to see what was going through his mind at that point. He gives us a little light on that. We'll also hear from Tom Brady himself. He'll be on the show. Well, at least a cut of his press conference when he talks about his thumb and how it's really not that big a deal. There's some discomfort, but it's Tom Brady. The man's a robot. Anyway, he rubs some kale on it, and he goes back out there and gets to work. So that's what we'll be looking for on today's program. Also today, we will be joined by my good friend Jack McCaffery, one of my favorite people on the planet. Jack is a jack of all trades, as a matter of fact. When you have two things going on that are piping hot, like we do right now with Ben Simmons and you do right now with the Philadelphia Eagles, as every single week during football season is piping hot, you got to talk to somebody who can cover it all, can cover the gambit. Someone's going to shoot you straight. And that is Jack McCaffery. So Jack will join the show a little bit later. I will say every once in a while, Jack has that, when he's been on the show, he's got that kind of like hazy look. Not him personally, but like his shot, his camera on his laptop. That doesn't happen this time around. This time we went phone. Because this other time, like when we started the interview, it looked like somebody, like he looked like he was working for the fire department. Like it was all smoky. So for whatever reason, we couldn't get that up and running, so we went on his phone, and the picture is just the best. I'm going to tell you this, folks. It's the best Jack McCaffery has ever looked on this show. So you won't want to miss that. Let me start off with some Eagles conversation here, because we're going to get into a lot of the Ben Simmons stuff a little bit later. The first thing with Ben will have to do with John Clark's latest report on what the process is right now with the 76ers. But I want to start with this. First, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come to town, and that means a couple of things. One, away from the obvious of Tom Brady and the high-flying passing offense, best in the NFL, the other thing is something that I don't think we focused on enough, and that's Todd Bowles' defense. And let's not forget that the star of the Super Bowl last year was Todd Bowles. I mean, there are some other guys that are pretty good. Gronk had a good game. Tom Brady's pretty good at football, and he was again at that game, too, in that game. But Todd Bowles was the star of that show, and I am still flat out shocked that Todd Bowles didn't get a head coaching job based on what happened in that Super Bowl alone. I mean, he put Patrick Mahomes over his knee and said, "Come here, little fella," spank, and he just went. They just had their way with Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl based off how they rugged off the edge, how they tried to keep him contained in the pocket, and how they had his head spinning when he looked around and said, "Oh, all that stuff I could do against every other defense in the NFL, I can't do against this defense." Hey, kudos to you, Todd Bowles. Well, imagine what Todd Bowles is going to do, not just with Jalen Hurts in this game, but imagine what he's going to do with the Eagles, any semblance of a run game, because their only real run game comes when Jalen Hurts either sneaks it, keeps it on a RPO, or just sees something and takes off. Other than that, you hand the ball to Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell like once, so you don't really have to do much to try to stop that Eagles rushing attack. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rushing defense is the best in the league by like 30 yards. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, Todd Bowles knows what he's doing to try to position his players to try to stop the run. The other is that everyone's playing from behind against the 4-1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the team. When you have an offense that's throwing 5 touchdown passes like Tom Brady had last week in this game that he banged up his thumb a little bit against the Miami Dolphins, chances are you're not going to be really running the football all that much anyway, because you're going to be playing from behind. So that's exactly what's going into this particular game. Like even the Dallas Cowboys in week 1 barely ran the football against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was all about throwing the ball. It was all about airing it out. It was all about the air attack. This game, the Eagles are going to have to run the football. When you look at the stats, and this is where I always say, numbers don't lie, but they sure as hell can deceive. This is an example of them deceiving. Because when you look at why they're like the best rushing defense in the league, yes, they have a good rushing defense. Yes, they have a good front four. Really, they have a good front eight. And really, when you look at, front seven, when you look at what this defense can do schematically, you try to stay away from running the football. But you learn this in the Dallas Cowboy game, I hope. You learn this against the San Francisco 49ers, I hope. You learn this really against Kansas City Chiefs above any other team that you've played so far this season. You gotta keep their offense off the football field. And the only way you're going to do that is if you try to control the clock. The short yardage stuff, hey, that works best for Jalen Hurts anyway. Things that are around the line of scrimmage, that works best for him anyway. You get that one shot downfield over the top to Quez Watkins. Hey, good for you. That's the way you got to play this game. If it hasn't sunk in yet with Nick Sirianni that that's the best version of his offense, no matter who he's playing against, it'll never sink in. Like, that's something that really, in all honesty, week one, you should have known that. You saw how well you played. All right, you ventured outside that a little bit to play against San Francisco. All right, fine. Now bring it back and stick to that style of offense where the throws are close to the line of scrimmage, everything within 10 yards, 5 yards even, and then you're able to take that shot downfield. Run the football, control the clock, help out Jalen Hurts, help out your passing game by running the football. It's the oldest thing you could ever talk about in football since they started going with the forward pass like a billion years ago. Run to set up the pass. This will be the perfect opportunity to do that, even if you're not having success early. Even if you want to throw in a couple of your screens that you love so much, make sure you're sucking that defense in closer to the line of scrimmage so that you can air it out later in the game. But more importantly, keep Tom Brady off the field. If I'm Nick Sirianni, my whole game plan is going to be about running the football. I know he's not going to do that, but I'm hoping in asking for 30 run plays in a game, I'm hoping they get 20. Because that's what it's going to take to beat this team. The Eagles will not win this game if they don't run the ball. Design runs, not RPOs. Oh, those are runs. Not always, because that's why you're optioning them out. But if they run the football 20 times, they'll beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'll do that. But they're not going to do it, which is why they're not going to beat the Bucs. So I look forward to hearing and seeing what they're going to actually do with that. Like I said, we're going to let you hear from Jonathan Gannon in a little bit. I want to get this going here because I want you guys to hear right from the horse's mouth about Tom Brady. Now, this is the more obvious thing. You're facing Tom Brady. How healthy is Tom Brady with that banged-up thumb on his throwing hand? Here's how Tom Brady addressed that yesterday.
This is just you play a game, you get hit, and you deal with different bumps and bruises over the course of the year. It's just this bumps and bruise happens to be on my hand. So, like I said, I'm just trying to be preventative and precautious and be smart. It's only been less than 48 hours since it happened, so it's not like it's had 5 or 6 days to do its thing. But again, I feel confident I'll be able to go out there and do what I need to do.
There was one thing that jumped out to me. Now, he said it wasn't that big a deal. It's nothing serious. He went on to say stuff like that. There's one thing that jumped out to me, and that is Father Time. And we always kind of make jokes about how, I even said it earlier, Tom Brady's a robot and he's fine. But in all honesty, when you get older, no matter who you are, you're not recovering from things the way you used to. I know a lot of people jump to mind, I can't drink like I used to. Yeah, well, okay. Well, football might be Tom Brady's alcohol. I don't know. But when it comes to these Thursday games, you heard Fletcher Cox yesterday, if you listen to this press conference, he talked about how Thursday is where you start to feel good again. Thursday, if you're a football player, before Sunday's kickoff, Thursdays you're like, oh, okay, all right, I can do this. I got this. It's like your recovery time. Now, instead of the battery being completely charged and then getting ready for Sunday, your battery is just getting charged and it's like, okay, go. It's a lot different. So as you get older, does it take you longer to get to that Thursday feeling? And the way Tom Brady talked about his thumb right there, he didn't have the amount of days that usually he would have for it to feel good again. He doesn't have the amount of days for him to fully recover from an injury like that. So will a Thursday night football game hurt Tom Brady more so than it did in years past because he can't bounce right back like he used to? I'll say this. It's definitely something that he made me think about. Tom Brady made me think about when he made the comment just then about how, he doesn't have 2 or 3 extra days for it to do its thing. It's like, is he not bouncing back like he used to? But every time you ask that question about Tom Brady versus Father Time. Tom Brady then, gets another parade because he wins that battle as well. We'll see how it plays out on Thursday night. But these are the things we have to look at. These are the things we have to call upon. I mean, what were we doing yesterday with Dave Zangaro talking about how it's a short week and it's going to be a tough game for an older team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Let's hope that that's exactly what it is. It's a Thursday night game. The Bucs are on the road. Tom Brady, I guess, has never played on the road. But these are the things you have to grasp at when you're trying to hold on to some semblance of hope and optimism when going into a game against Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you're coming off a win. This is what you get to go for. So hopefully that's what they do. The other thing is that, again, you hope that they actually run the football. They try to control the clock. They try to air it out downfield later in the game, but they try to keep everything close to the line of scrimmage offensively. Defensively, getting at Tom Brady throughout this game. And you could say it every single time you play against Tom Brady. But Tom Brady, a perfect 3-0 and 3 starts at Lincoln Financial Field. And how about this? On Thursday Night Football, he's 13-3 with a passer rating of 103, I think it is. So have at it, boys. I will say, when I did watch Fletcher Cox in his press conference yesterday, he did seem chipper, which we really haven't seen. Last week we saw him kind of be upset, be angry. He kind of had a little bit of a short fuse. But he was perturbed. I don't want to blow it out of I don't want to make it sound like it was worse than it was. He was perturbed. That's how he came off his press conference. This time around, he seemed chipper, he seemed happy, he seemed ready to get out there and go to work. Bruce Arians, and we'll get into this with Jack McCaffery in a little bit. Bruce Arians knows how good this Eagles front four is. And if this Eagles front four, if you can take away one thing, like I said yesterday, from the Panthers to this game, if I can take one thing out of it, it would be the defensive line might be coming together. And if they needed that game against a much lesser offense to try to kick it in the next gear and figure out the chemistry and build that confidence and even have somebody coming off as a linebacker like Jannard Avery to get some pressure, get in the backfield and set an edge as well, then by all means, that's what you need. And hopefully this is them building off that as a defensive line. The key to this game, sure, they can run the football, they can keep them off the field. That'd be great, but I'm not expecting it. I'm not betting on it. The key to this game is going to be how your defensive line plays. And if Fletcher Cox is coming into his own this year, right now, same thing as Josh Sweat. Finally, we're going to see what he's being paid to do. Finally seeing what a lot of people have predicted for a lot of years. If that's all happening, all right. If Derek Barnett's not getting penalties, all right. Javon Hargrave playing like a defensive player of the year. I said it. And yeah, they got a shot. So you're saying they got a chance. I want to get this. Excuse me. So Miles Sanders. Remember that guy? The guy that wasn't running out of bounds? The guy that barely gets the football anymore in this Eagles offense? So Miles Sanders is addressing the media yesterday in a lovely outdoor press conference. And Zach Berman asked him about not running out of bounds at the end of the game. And Miles Sanders was rather, I don't want to say he was tight-lipped, but he offered an honest explanation of what happened. Here it is.
That's just something I just got to do better, just mental funk, just got to stay in bounds, I just got to own that and just got to do better for a minute.
And a mental funk. That's what happened. Miles Sanders had a mental funk. Here's what sucks. You're really pulling for a guy. And no matter who's running the football, I'm pulling for the person to get more touches, right? We're all kind of screaming at the top of our lungs to I've said this a million times. We've been through we've seen guys abandon the run. How about don't ignore the run? And that's kind of what Nick Sirianni has done. You're really rooting for a guy. You're saying, this guy can do it. Give him more responsibility. He's great. And then he messes up, and that makes you feel like an idiot. Miles Sanders can't afford mistakes like that, mental mistakes like that. Miles Sanders can afford to have a bad game here and there because every running back is going to have a bad game. You're going to dance by the line of scrimmage a little too much sometimes. There's going to be issues. But you can't have mental breakdowns. You can't have mental funks, as he just said at the end of a game like that, because that's just going to make the coach look and go, well, he's not ready to go out there. He's not mentally prepared to go out there. And on a short week, as Nick Sirianni even highlighted earlier in the week, it's all about the mental reps in a particular game, getting those mental reps at practice. You can't afford to have mental funks at the end of a game either. But that's what it was. It was a mental funk, a brain fart, if you will. All right, Miles. Come on there, booby. We're all pulling for you to get more involved in the offense. And a lot of credit to Ruben Frank, by the way, yesterday, who was just, I don't want to say he was berating him with questions because he wasn't doing that, but he was like, hey, Miles, this is historically low for you. Like, your touches are down 30%. How do you not get frustrated? And he's like, hey, well, the team won. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? You can't really you can't really say the team. I like the team to win more, and I feel like they have a better chance to win when you're touching the football more. So let's work on that a little bit. And hopefully, if they do keep it simple, stupid this week, as Nick Sirianni said yesterday, or it's Tuesday. Tuesday. If they do keep it simple, stupid, then you know what that means? That means they're running the football, because there's nothing easier and more simple about football than using the run to set up the pass. So let's cross our fingers and wait for that. What else do we have? Jonathan Gannon. He watches his film from his press conference, I have no doubt, because something was living in his head. And it was 2 weeks ago when he said, I don't have a scheme. Jonathan Gannon revisited that statement yesterday during his press conference.
Jeff, we don't have a scheme. Let me clarify, you guys, what that really means to me is, like an offensive guy says, well, I'm a West Coast guy. Well, if you have Tom Brady, you're not going to run a West Coast offense, right? So I never really wanted, being on different defenses that I've been on, I never wanted to be labeled as, a Tampa 2 guy or a Seattle 3 guy or a pressure guy. Because, those things can be good, and those defenses have been really good, some of those teams that are known for playing that style. But if it doesn't match up with the people that you have in your building, or if it doesn't match up versus the people you're playing, good luck. So the whole non-scheme thing, that's really just saying, hey, each week we want to be able to adapt and adjust, putting our guys in a position to be able to make as many plays as possible with the offense that we are playing.
And that's what he has to say about his scheme. To me, look, I understand, and we're trying to get some members of the Eagles defense on again with us to explain this a little further. I understand that you don't have a one way of doing things. Oh, this is our way, and that's it. That's the highway. I'm going to fit everyone to what I do. And that's good. I give him credit for that. I didn't even acknowledge it when he said the thing about not having a scheme. However, when it comes to attacking another offense, there should be the best version of yourself. No matter how that goes, no matter who you're facing, this is the one thing I know we do well no matter what. And this is what we're going to stick to. You have a bread and butter, basically. There is no bread and butter to the Nick Sirianni, to the Jonathan Gannon defense other than the front four and what they can do in any given game. When they're not getting it going, that's when you have to have some worries. Hopefully this is them getting it going, as I said earlier. But Jonathan Gannon basically damage controlling what he had said during his press conference 2 weeks ago, I found to be interesting, because of course he has a scheme, and if it's not a scheme, it's at least a philosophy or an ideology about how he goes about playing and how he goes about putting his players in those positions to make plays. But if you're going to have a guy like Fletcher Cox, then how, for the life of me, I still can't figure this out, how you would only have him be not even a play buster, but how do we put it last week when you talk about how a guy goes out there and just tries to take on two players to take up somebody else's guy, so a guy like Javon Hargrave can get free. Like, how you don't have things that are schemed for him is just interesting to me. You can't constantly rely on him to take up two guys, and you can't constantly rely on him to even break up a one-on-one and get past it, because those are things that he's still been struggling with this year. Has he been getting double-teamed? Yes, but it doesn't seem like he's getting double-teamed nearly as much as he was in years past. So how don't you design something to get him going? Apparently they're running some more stunts in this game. That didn't jump out to me, but that question came up a couple of times yesterday. If you're not doing that more just to get one of your best players going, because even your great players sometimes need a bit of a jump start. Even your marquee guys like Fletcher Cox is right here might need a little bit of a jump start. Did it really take 5 weeks to try to do something to get him jump started? Because that's what it certainly looked like against Carolina Panthers. They're going to need him to get it going again. Whatever that scheme is, whatever that philosophy is, whatever you're going to be applying to try to stop the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Fletcher Cox has to be right there along with Javon Hargrave and trying to get that done on your interior defensive line. Because without those guys clicking on all cylinders, there's no chance. It's going to be a long, long Thursday night. Let me touch on this before we get to our friend Jack McCaffery. John Clark put out the story yesterday on Twitter saying that he was told, according to his sources, that Ben Simmons is meeting with Doc Rivers and all the process, the entire process is underway for him rejoining the team. I mean, I don't think he came here to check on his real estate. I think he came here to play. And if he didn't come here to play, then I think he just came here to say, yeah, no, I'm serious. Trade me. Like, I'll show up. I'll make things easier. I'll be like James Harden. I'll at least show up, but you got to trade me. I honestly think he came back to play. And I really think that's the only way that you're going to be able to move on from Ben Simmons if you are going to trade him, which is he has to go out there and he's got to play basketball. No one's trading for him right now. I would assume he has not played his last game as a 76er. With him showing up now, I don't think he's played his last game as a 76er. We'll get into, like I said, with Jack, but the interesting thing here is that nobody knew that Ben was showing up. And we played the cut for you yesterday of Doc Rivers saying he didn't even know he was going to have to talk to Woj to find out what was going on with his own organization. And that's funny to a degree. But sometimes, I mean, we saw this in football with, who was it, TJ Watt in Pittsburgh, where his agent and the team were going back and forth about a contract. And Watt just said, yeah, to hell with this. I'm showing up. We'll sign whatever. I just got to play football. Maybe something similar happened here in this other sport in basketball where Ben Simmons said, yeah, to hell with all this other stuff. I'm not listening to anybody else anymore. I'm not even listening to my own camp. Not even going to tell them that I'm going to Philadelphia. Because if you remember going through the timeline with Woj, it was interesting in terms of, they're Clutch Sports and the Sixers are working on something right now with Ben Simmons to get something done where they eventually still trade him or he does report. And then all of a sudden, Ben Simmons just showed up. Like, what was it? Not even 12 hours later, just showed up. And there he was, to the surprise of everyone. So I would assume there's going to be a conversation had with, already Doc Rivers, apparently, Daryl Morey, Joel Embiid. But I relayed it out for you, saying that there's a couple of ways that this gets resolved. And the one way it gets resolved is Ben Simmons comes back, and the Sixers say, you want us to trade you? Shoot. Play. Show a mid-range game, hit your free throws, and all right, we'll trade you. Or in other words, fixing your trade value. Huh? And then we'll trade you. We get a good offer, we're going to trade you. You made it clear you don't want to be here anymore. You already said you can't play with Joel Embiid, despite, what was the number yesterday? 144 and 66, something like that. That's a pretty good record for somebody you can't play with. He wants to trade you? Shoot. Expand your game. That's the way you can fix it. Hit your free throws, hit mid-range game, show the best version of yourself you've ever shown. And yeah, fans will start to forgive you. The other way is Allen Iverson just puts his arm around him and say, hey, give this guy a second chance. Like that's the only other way. That's what we're going to be looking at throughout this entire process. Right now, I do want to tell you, before we get to my friend Jack McCaffery, I do want to tell you about the amazing people at Steven Singer Jewelers. Do what I do and trust Steven Singer. Love talking about our friend Steven Singer, and I'll tell you, the competition must really hate this guy. He's not only focused, he's not focusing on like just sales and discounts and promotions and anything like that. No, Steven's focused on being in the love business. And to celebrate being in the love business, he makes sure his guests feel comfortable. And he makes it feel comfortable every single day with the perfect price. Steven's first offer is the perfect price every single day. You ever wondered if you're getting the best price? Are you comfortable negotiating? No, you just want to concentrate on buying the diamond that you want, the engagement ring that you want, the piece of jewelry that you want, that you know is going to make that special someone in your life very, very happy. He's not just out there just to haggle with you to make you feel like you got to negotiate. He's out there to make you feel comfortable. And here's a little insider tip. Most jewelers, they like to mark up their merchandise. They like to mark it up way up. You know why? Because they want you to make it feel like you're getting some kind of deal. Where you're like, I don't really know if I'm going to, all right, I'll knock out $500. Well, that's not how Steven operates. So just go down there to Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, and see what I'm talking about. Steven doesn't play those pricing games. He's a guy you can trust. He's a jeweler you can trust with the best value every single day. Stands behind that value with the best guarantee in the business and no risk shopping. That's why I trust Steven Singer, and you should too. Buy real jewelry from a real jeweler. Visit Steven Singer Jewelers at the other corner of 8th and Walnut in Philadelphia. Or online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price. IHateStevenSinger.com. All right, let's jump on the line right now. The Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Talk a little bit more Ben Simmons and Philadelphia Eagles with our friend Jack McCaffery. Ladies and gentlemen, when you need honesty, when you need the hard truth, you go to one man, and that man's name is Jack McCaffery from the Delco Times. Jack, what's happening, man? How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm doing even better after I read your amazing article. If you haven't seen it yet, ladies and gentlemen, get to the Delco Times right now. Follow Jack McCaffery on Twitter as well. McCaffery, Ben Simmons had no shot. Go figure. No shot to win this fight with the 76ers. No doubt, I guess in retrospect right now, being that he has finally shown up to have a meeting with the Sixers brass and meet up with the Sixers as well, I guess the way you kind of sum it up is billionaires versus millionaires, and go figure the billionaires won, Jack.
In that particular case, of course. Now, there's been many examples over the years of the players winning that kind of thing. Not when they're 4 years underwater on a contract. He was owed $147 million. All Josh Harris had to do was say, you know what, I'm not paying you. End of game over at that point. So the fine started to rack up, and he decided, whoa, if I want to continue to have this lifestyle, I at least have to report to work. So he's done that. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play for the Sixers or he won't get traded, but he was pretty much made by the organization to come back to work on our terms, and that's what he was made to do. And that. Anybody who's followed Ben Simmons over the years know that's got to drive him crazy. He didn't want to LSU. He didn't want to play 1 year of college basketball. He didn't want to play any other position but point guard. He didn't want to shoot. He didn't want to take a foul shot. So he doesn't enjoy being told what to do. Now, in this case, he wasn't being told what to do. He was getting offered $147 million to do that. But he realized that, you know what, sitting out just isn't going to cut it when I have 4 years to go. If he had 1 year to go, maybe, but he had played the first 3 and cashed all that money, and all right, he can eat the last year, but he wasn't going to eat 4 years.
No, especially when you got a $17.5 million mansion to pay for in Los Angeles, and you got all them cars and all that nice stuff. You got something you got to pay for. Hey, you live a millionaire's lifestyle, man. You got to have millionaire money. So let's put it like this. All the things you just rattled off right there, Jack. Sounds like a hell of a guy I want back around my team, especially with all the offseason stuff that was said. How do you think this plays out from this point on?
Not great, because they weren't able to win with him. I'll tell you what, I wrote another column at the Daily Times. I said, you take Ben Simmons, I'll take Tyrese Maxey. Let's play. I'll play. I'll take my chances. You're talking about a guy who is disruptive on a team, who – in a tough situation, the opposing coach easily can go hack a Ben. You saw that, especially in the playoffs, 2 series in a row in the playoffs. If there was a third series, it was going to happen in that series as well. Not so much in the regular season. It's a little too premature for that, and the regular season games often are more lopsided than that. But yeah, you're talking about a guy that they can go hack a Ben. He can't make a 3-pointer, doesn't make an outside shot. I'll take my shot with Tyrese Maxey. This guy who coming in and really being a disruptive factor. How will it play out? Players are funny. If they think that he can help them win, that'd be fine. Tell you who's not going to be happy. The guy who's thought that he was going to get his playing time, he's not going to be happy. He might
no, that's very true.
Not be happy. He wanted that plan. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out among the fans. And I'm not so sure that he's going to be booed as bad as people think he's going to be booed.
Really? Why do you think that?
Because of the makeup of the Sixers crowd. The way I look at it is, what's a typical Sixers crowd? About 14,000 season ticket holders. Call me a liar from somewhere, but 14,000 season ticket holders who are heavily invested into the team. So they are loyalists to, not to a fault, but loyalists to a heavy financial commitment. So they're looking to be happy when they're there. The other 6,000 are people who are fortunate enough to get to go to maybe a game a year, 2 games a year. They're lucky to be there as well. They're happy to be there. It's as long as the Sixers are winning, and they should, and there's enough Tuesday night games against the Charlotte Hornets, they're going to win. they're not going to carry on to any great extreme unless I'm missing my guess. It's now if you follow my thinking of this, there's probably, again, I'm exaggerating, whatever, 20 million Sixers fans. Probably 19 million of them would love to be down there booing him. But it's the 14 or the 20,000 who are there. They are heavily invested loyalists or people that are just happy to be there for one night. And the other 19 million will be booing them in front of their TV sets. That's how I see it coming out. And don't worry, I'll be at every game, and we'll make sure it's mentioned whether or not he was booed or not.
I'm sure I wouldn't put it past you, Jack, just to like walk away from the media area just to boo and then come back and sit down.
Well, I may even have to put in disguise.
All right, what are the odds? Because I'll say this. I think even with those passionate loyalists, as you put it, and I agree with that, I still think they're going to voice their frustrations after the offseason. Then, if Ben Simmons, and this is what I want to ask you about, comes back hitting free throws and comes back with a mid-range game, then I think you'll hear those boos turn to cheers rather quickly. What are the odds that actually happens where he plays for the Sixers with a semi-expanded game to what we have been waiting a long time for? Free throws and mid-range game. What do you think? What are the odds of that happening?
You're a funny guy, Mark. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I can make free throw. You know what? I'll have a little fun with you. He's not as bad a free throw shooter as he showed in the playoffs last year. In fact, I remember writing a story one time. He was making some decent improvement. I want to say he made 10 free throws in a row at one point during the season. I could stand to be corrected on that. But there was
February.
Was there? Did that happen? Yeah. Okay. So there was some progress there. I could see him becoming a little bit better free throw shooter. He's not going to take that outside 3-point shot. He's just not going to do it. And if he does it, and if they're going to let him do it, and then if let's say he even makes a couple, well, then they're going to get out and challenge him. And then it's one thing to make a 3-point shot on some rogue video that leaks in the middle of the summer with nobody there in the gym. It's another one to make it in the NBA with nobody guarding you. It's a third one when some, long NBA hungry guy is coming out there to defend you. And he's not going to, he can't do it. He's incapable of doing that. So he's not going to be a 3-point shooter. He is got a chance to be an improved foul shooter. That'd be a nice challenge for him. Be an improved enough foul shooter that you don't get humiliated with the hack of Ben. And I'll say that's doable by any professional athlete. If he concentrates enough, he should be able to at least do that.
All right, I'll take that. Do you think he actually comes back, plays, and then gets traded, or do you think he'll be around here a while?
The first one, he will come back, play, and gets traded. They're not going to stop. It's how clear is Morey and have to make it? He's been trying to trade the guy for over a calendar year. He tried to trade him for Harden. He tried to trade him at the trade deadline. It was so obvious that it was, as I recall, there were reports saying it's imminent or it's close. So he tried to do that at the trade deadline. He tried to do it at the draft. And he's still trying to do it. So, yeah, they're going to try to trade Ben Simmons and get out of this contract and move forward. But to do that, I guess he's going to have to play.
Yeah, I'm and this is my fishing a wish scenario. Morey and Rivers both say, you want to get traded? Shoot. Hit your free throws like we just talked about, and give me a little 10-foot jumper a couple times a game and see what that does for you.
It could help. It could help. It definitely could help. I mean, it's such a fascinating topic. I love talking about it. Then again, you say to yourself, if you're Doc Rivers, do I want him to shoot? It's like, I run an offense. Let's set something up for Ben Simmons to make a 15-footer. What?
Yeah, not going to be my number one priority. Not going to be my number one priority.
It's convoluted to the point of it's a great mystery, and man, it's going to be a fun season to watch, especially the first 15 games. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. I very well could stand to be corrected, and he can get booed out of the building.
All right, what do you think? Okay.
Bet on that.
All right, what do you think happens first? Ben Simmons gets traded, or you and I participate in another celebrity boxing match with Damon Feldman?
I think we're going to do that. We got to do that soon. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid in the main event. You be the ring announcer. I'll be the referee. You know, we will pack any ballroom in Delaware County.
the creme de la creme of venues. Any area, any arena, any venue in Delco. I want to switch gears real quick. Jack McCaffery here of talking about the Eagles. Eagles have a shot. Do they have a chance? They have a chance to beat Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Why not? It's obviously, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I'm going to take Tom Brady in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they hit you. They hit you pretty hard. Bruce Arians today was on the conference call with the media, and he said that this front four that they're going to face Thursday night is the best front four that he's faced all year. And obviously, it's only 6 games into the year. Maybe he was being a little polite. I don't think so. He's a pretty honest guy over the years. He's really impressed by that line. So the Eagles have gotten to Tom Brady a few times over the years. It's Hurts played, at least showed you that he could lead a team to victory in the last game. The game before that, he passed for 387 yards. You're playing at home. To directly answer your question, yeah, why not? You have to get some turnovers. They got quite a few the last game. They got quite a few breaks the last game. Those things even out. I will take Tom Brady. I am not hedging on that, but show up, play. It could be a good game.
In all your, you've covered a lot of coaches, my friend. You've covered a lot of guys. Where's Nick Sirianni kind of, just loosely, ballpark, where's he rank in there for young coaches starting out their careers in terms of just like overall first impressions here, not just at the introductory press conference, but first 5 games we've seen him as a head coach and play caller? How would you grade him out? So
entry-level guys that are young football coaches, I guess you're talking about Dick Vermeil and Andy Reid would be the other two that would define that as far as the Eagles. Andy Reid had a tough start, and so did Dick Vermeil. So the difference is that Dick Vermeil was a successful head coach in college and coached in the Rose Bowl, and so you had a feeling that he projected an air of confidence and ability. I'm not willing to declare that yet with Nick Sirianni, nor would I expect him to demand that. He knows that he's on a show-me basis, and so far, nothing special. Andy Reid, as I recall, Mark, I wish I had it in front of me. Didn't he start out 1-6 or something like that his first year, something like that?
Yeah, with Doug Peterson as his quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, people were all over him, myself included, I suppose, and then he turned out to be a very successful coach. So I'll put him at the bottom of that list in the category that you gave me. Young Eagles and coaches coaching, in their 30-ish years. I got him behind Dick and Andy Reid.
The upstarts, if you will. Jack McCaffery, everyone, make sure you check out what Jack has to offer in one of his latest articles at the Delco Times, obviously. Make sure you check him out. Jack McCaffery right there. Ben Simmons had no shot to win this fight with the Sixers. No, give it no shot whatsoever. Jack, always great catching up with you, man. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Mark.
The great Jack McCaffery, Delco Times, joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Once again, thank you to Jack McCaffery joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. So I forgot to tell you a little backstory. Here you go. Jack and I used to help out with Damon Feldman. And, you might know Damon Feldman, wacky, zany fight promoter. Lamar Odom now does a lot of stuff with him. So there you go. For celebrity boxing. Well, Damon would host these other little bouts throughout the Delaware Valley that would actually draw a pretty big crowd. And on more than one occasion, Damon recruited me to be the ring announcer, and Jack McCaffery was either the referee or the ringside, like play-by-play guy that would web stream it, stream it, whatever. And on more than one occasion, we would, happen to be in the same place, same time. And I always really appreciate Jack. Jack's always been really good to me, and I really like the guy. Anyway, so we've become friendly, and this one particular fight, the last fight we did, a guy got punched in an area that apparently makes you. And we were all like sitting outside the ring. Like I was waiting to go in, and I was told, hold on 1 second. And like a medical, the medic went in there, and the guy was like sitting there breathing, and he seemed fine. And he was just sitting there, and he was staring at the medical staff of 2 people. And I think like his trainer was in there, and I think his wife. And I just saw the guy. He goes, I can't get up. And they're like, what's wrong? Did he hit you in the spine, or I don't know, something? Did you fall weird or whatever? And he goes, I pooped. The poor guy. He was like cracking a smile about it, so he knew the hilarity of the situation. And he was fine after that. They got him out of there. Yeah, and there you go. There was nothing else that came of this other than story. And I feel fine laughing about it because the guy was fine and he knew it was funny. He was embarrassed, but he didn't want to get up because he was afraid he might reveal to the entire arena that he had pooped himself. So there you go. That's how me and Jack like to have a good time. What can I say? Anyway, thanks to Jack for joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Much appreciated. You know, when you have orthopedic issues, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and 76ers. BetQL, you guys hear me talking about BetQL all the time. Make sure you get the advantage over your sportsbook and use BetQL. You need to download the BetQL app right now to make the smart bets. Their best bets computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports. And they give you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, as well as player props. Don't want to use the model and prefer to do your own research? The BetQL app has all the necessary tools for your betting research. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news. They even have a leaderboard just for you so you can keep track of your own success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store right now to download the BetQL app. Got to tell you about Steak and Maine. Steak and Maine, a phenomenal restaurant in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Whether you dine in the more upscale steakhouse, casual bar and patio, or their amazing indoor dining room, it's just fantastic. A little table in the back that spins so you can share platters if you want to. They're just fantastic. You'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that with an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. Open every day for lunch, dinner, as well as Sunday brunch. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel as well. Check it out for yourself. Go to steakandmaine.com for more information. I've been telling you a lot about WinView and how amazing this app is on WinView. If you have a little fantasy football game going on and maybe it's not going your way, hop over on the WinView app. Challenge that person that's beating the tar off you and say, how about this? Challenge them to another bet, and guess what? You can win something more instantly. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy, but it is a great way to have fun and tell your friends to put their money where their mouth is when it comes to a little bit of a gentleman's bet, if you will. Oh yeah, put that in the code there in WinView and have yourself a good time. WinView is the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who is the bigger sports fan? Have those friends and family members who just think they know everything? Well, you can tell them to shut their yapper with the WinView contest and have them walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. We'll at least see if they can. They'll track everything on Sundays. When you're tracking everything on Sundays and you're watching the games and all that stuff, playoffs as well in baseball, you can have everything going on with the WinView app. So make sure you have yourself a good time. Download the WinView app right now. Challenge a friend in a WinView contest. You can win real cash prizes and some great things on the predictions that you love, the games that you love also. So make sure you do that with WinView. Also, all the crazy stuff. We got the Flyers starting up on Friday. You got the Sixers. There's all the drama going around with Ben Simmons. Eagles in the midst of the season as well. Follow it all at PHL Sports Nation. That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Now it's time for our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. A lot to get into here. Dax checking in, Kevin, Mally, Dan, April as well. Good morning, everybody. Nice to have you guys in the chat. Let's see here. Kevin says, good morning, Farzy and everyone. Dak, good morning. Dan, good morning, people. Only 8 more days, not counting today, to the Ben Simmons Boo Fest, my favorite Halloween event. I grew up going to a place called Shady Brook Farms, right? If you were going to Shady Brook Farms, man, in October and you were in high school, oh man, you were the king of the town, my friend. That was the place to be. And I would name a hayride a Boo and Ben. Like, I would name a hayride Boo and Ben for that exact reason, Dan. I like where your head's at. Mally's checking in. I can finally watch the 76ers game. I was boycotting until the great almighty Ben Simmons returned. The league greatest player is back. I'm sensing the sarcasm. Well, I'd hope so. You're laying it on pretty thick. I don't know why I have so many Chris Farley references in today's show. I forget what what are they called? Eggs? Is that what they are? Find the eggs, the Easter eggs, right? I don't know why. I have Chris Farley. That's why. I was listening to the Smartless podcast, and they referenced Chris Farley. And I don't know why, but ever since then, my mind has just gone. I went down the Norm rabbit hole when Norm Macdonald passed away. And now, for whatever reason, I'm in like a Chris Farley, Tommy Boy, Saturday Night Live rabbit hole. And I don't know why I can't get my mind out of it, but maybe that's just weird. It's just weird is what it is. Opening night is Ben Simmons pacifier night. Ooh, I like that. That's another good idea. April checking in, saying good morning, everyone. Great photo you dug up. I did? I don't know what I did there. Mally, did you get your Simmons jersey yet? April wants to know from Mally. Got it on now, April. Got one for every night of the week. That's interesting, Mally. All right. I like this. Birdman, 951. Trap game for Tampa. Maybe tomorrow we'll do the Farzy 5. I was thinking about this, but I think Birdman, I think you just solidified it here. I was going to do the top 5 reasons the Eagles will win this game. We all know that they're probably not going to win. But you know what? Why do that show? Everyone's going to do that show. Tomorrow morning, we're going to do a top 5 reasons that the Eagles will win this game. And you know what? I'm going to venture to say I might even come up with 6. There you go. We're going to tell you why the Eagles are going to beat the Buccaneers. We're going to have an optimistic show tomorrow. Everyone else can be doom and gloom, telling you this team sucks and the Bucs are amazing. Not going to do that show tomorrow. Tomorrow, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you a little thing. I'm going to tell you why the Eagles are going to win that game. How about that? I won't believe a word I say, but I'm going to tell you why they'll win that game. That's right. That's right, folks. Birdman, you've convinced me. Charles Barkley didn't trash the whole city and fans and Sixers on his way out. Dan, come on, stop it, Dan. That's what Mally is saying to Dan. Nope, never seen anything like Baby Ben. He is his own special case. It really is amazing. Like, one of the best arguments I've heard is that Ben Simmons hasn't earned the right to hold out. Like, who the hell is Ben Simmons to be like, no, trade me? I'm sorry, what? Like, the thing that Jack kept referencing, and he also referenced in the article that I highlighted earlier, this one here, during the interview, like, the thing that he kept on referencing in this was like, dude, you got 4 years left on your deal. Who the hell do you think you are? You're going to hold out on this team? You're going to tell the ownership, no, I'm not going to play for you. See you later. You're going to tell the Daryl Morey, you're going to tell Doc Rivers, no, I'm getting traded. I'm not playing for you. I'm sorry. Who the hell are you again? Go shut your ass. Go over there and just shut up. Just sit on the bench, even if you want to tell me your foot hurts. All right? You ain't getting traded. We'll let you know you're getting traded. All right? They're tons of fun. Have a seat. I said yesterday, I don't have the same thought around in my head, around and around. Like, I saw that picture of Joe Carter when I was going through stuff in the basement the other day. And it was like a 93 yearbook that, like, one of my aunts or uncles got me for, like, my birthday or something. And, like, when I was a kid. And I'm flipping through it, and I saw Joe Carter. I went, ugh. Later that day, I was watching SportsCenter. They gave an update on Ben Simmons, and there was a picture of it. I was like, ugh. Like, I had the same reaction. That shouldn't happen. But yet I did. I had the same reaction. Crazy when you think about it. Let's see what else we have here, Matt. April. Carson and Ben are both jerks. We know this. I just think it takes, like, Carson didn't come out. Look, I'm waiting to hear from Ben Simmons, and I want there to be no speculation. I want him to address the media, and I want to hear what he has to say. I want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. And somebody was like sending me stuff yesterday on social media about what they should do with Ben Simmons. About like people mistook the test that he took for the vaccine, and I don't know if he's been vaccinated yet or not, and whatever. But here's the deal: when it comes to what the Sixers should do, people are like, "Oh, you know, what he should go out there at the Wells Fargo Center and he should do X, Y, and Z in front of the fans, or the fans should just be quiet when he gets introduced. They'll drive him crazy, whatever." You know what? How about this? How about you put him at the free throw line, and every free throw he misses, he's got to take one of them like nasal COVID tests. Maybe that'll be motivating for him to actually go out there. Maybe that's what they should do. We have to talk about something different because this can't be the whole special media check-in. The whole social media check-in, excuse me. So how is everything else going? Everything else going great, fair. I'm playing golf on Friday. That's happening. I'm excited about that. I haven't played golf in a while. When did I play golf? I played in a golf outing with my dad about a month ago. That was fun. I like to play more golf. Don't have a lot of time for it these days, unfortunately. Hold the damn phone, April. Shady Brook has a bar now? Excuse me? Now, I was at Shady Brook most recently around Christmas for their Christmas thing. It felt weird. It's an October thing to me. But a friend of ours' kid was celebrating their birthday. They were like 7 or something. And we went, and it was at Shady Brook Farms. And I didn't notice a bar. I did notice like a beer truck. I noticed that. And it was delicious beer. Not the biggest beer guy in the world, as you guys know, but it was good. It was good. But if they have a bar, I'm going to go there tonight. Usually good at picking up on that. Apparently not. April, I still gag when I see Joe Carter as well. Marc is fluent in sarcasm, according to April. I am. It's very, very, very true. Thanks everyone who checked in. Our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Let's get into our Morning Rush segment. Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. I wanted to make sure I mentioned this. One of the things that Jonathan Gannon got into in his press conference, other than saying, "Hey, I have a scheme, guys. I got a scheme," it gave me a little bit cause of concern. And since this is the last pessimistic show we're going to do as far as the Eagles go against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, here's the last thing I'll say pessimistically about the game. Jonathan Gannon during his press conference said something that I've never really heard a coach admit to. And I appreciate honesty, and what we always want is honesty. But this it makes me go, ew. And here's what he said yesterday. Jonathan Gannon, when he addressed the media, said that during a short week, and I know we talk about it all the time with Nick Sirianni, first-time head coach. First-time defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon is also going through a short week. And how do you prepare on a short week? All right, we got into that Nick Sirianni. Keep it simple, stupid. Jonathan Gannon admitted to the media that he wanted to come out and do all these different installs throughout the week to get ready for Tom Brady and the number one passing defense in the NFL, but couldn't because of the short week. So instead of giving his players more things to digest and more things to commit to memory, he couldn't do it. So he can't go with the installs that he wanted to this week because they play on Thursday. Now, I understand you're not going to install for the Buccaneers when you're facing the Panthers. But he did say during this press conference that he used week one installs, like week one of training camp, things they learned in training camp, against the Carolina Panthers. Okay. So where's the stuff that you installed in week 2 of training camp that you might be able to use against the Buccaneers? Do you understand what I'm saying? It seems like he's going into this ill-prepared. He said they'll be ready. He did a whole 90-second answer and said this is why it's tough because you're going against Tom Brady on not only going against Tom Brady, but you're going against Tom Brady in a short week where you can't prepare for him as much as you'd like to prepare for Tom Brady and Mike Evans. Oh, and Leonard Fournette, who's actually putting it together this season, recently. First against the Patriots in a rain-soaked game in New England, and then played pretty well, another 61 yards on the ground. Not great, but that's all really Tom Brady needs for the run to set up the pass. So they do it, works out for them. But to get ready for Tom Brady, you're not going to have a full week of prep. Again, last pessimistic thing I'll say about the game coming up. But that's what your defensive coordinator told the assembled media yesterday when he was talking about getting ready on a short week for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Goody. This should be a real fun game. What did I say Tom Brady was? 13-3 on Thursday Night Football games? Cool. This is going to be fun. Also, like I said, Flyers get started up on Friday. And I know that tomorrow we're going to have a lot of Buccaneers talk. We're going to have a lot of Eagles talk, obviously. We'll have some Sixers stuff to get into. But I just want to say this. I am actually excited, really excited, to watch the Flyers this year. Like, I know I'm not going to get a big chance to talk about it for the rest of the week, but I am excited to talk about. I'm excited to watch the Flyers this year. They kind of remind me, not to set an expectation that they're going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, but this is where I'm kind of at right now with the Flyers. In getting older with the players that they've brought in, they kind of remind me of the 2004 Flyers that lost to Tampa in the Eastern Conference Finals. Older team, brought in some even more, like they exchanged some younger guys for some older guys for some win now type of mentality. I don't really look at the guys on this team and go like, oh, that guy's Peter Nedved or that guy's Alexei Zhamnov or something like that. Like, I don't look at it like that necessarily in terms of talent, but in terms of what they're trying to do by exchanging some younger guys for some older guys, bringing in guys like Cam Atkinson, bringing in Ristolainen, right? Bringing in guys like that. Like, those guys coming in here gives me a little bit of all the learning, growing pains are out the door. All that's done. Like, that stuff moves aside. You're not waiting for guys to, will this guy develop into that? No. This is what they are. If the Flyers do what they are on paper, I think they're going to give us at least an exciting season. What does that mean when it really cut and dry? I think you're looking at a team that can actually get into the second round of the playoffs this year. I think you're looking at a team that with great goaltending play, which is the one guy we're going to be looking at this year saying, what can he develop into? Carter Hart, can he develop into one of the best goaltenders in hockey? We'll see if that happens this year, and I hope that does. And I got a lot of confidence in Carter Hart. However, everybody else on this roster is not a young and up-and-comer anymore. I mean, we look at Sean Couturier. Some people still think he's a young guy. He's like pushing 30, that guy. You know, he's got some good years left of hockey in him. I'm looking at this team to actually compete, not just for own division, but actually make it to the Eastern Conference semifinals. That's my expectation for the Flyers this year. Compete for the Eastern Conference semifinals. Hopefully that's what they do. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Really appreciate it. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program, did a phenomenal job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzy. Thanks for joining us here at the Steven Sager Studios. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Football Thursday here on the Farzy Show. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.